Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast, with your hosts, Mike Menino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hi, everybody. It's Michael Menino, and welcome to Driven, Unscripted Success Podcast. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professionals who share their experience with you, the audience, how they got to where they're at today. And zooming from the beautiful island of Columbia, South Carolina, is Wyman Bowers. Is that right?
You got it.
Wyman Bowers. How you doing, young man?
Doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Hey, thanks for coming on. We do appreciate it. You do me a quick favor. We were talking off camera, and I could have kept talking to you for hours, so I wanted to put this on camera. Because do me a favor and tell people what you do and how you got to where you're at today.
So live in Columbia, South Carolina, from a very small town in the lower part of the state called Estill. And I've been in Columbia for most of my adult life. Went to Furman, then went to law school and practiced law for about a decade. Then did some other stuff in healthcare. But I'm currently in partnership with Lucas Bunch. And so we own three different operating businesses together. LaFi Custom Homes. So we build semi-custom homes and also have a build for rent aspect to what we do. We also own the Via. It's a franchise. We own the Columbia, Charleston, and Greenville markets. It's a roll-off dumpster franchise. So we haul trash from construction sites to landfills and back. And then the third business is Secure Lock Solutions. So we install access control. We sell actually and install access control in hotels and multifamily apartment buildings.
Awesome. In that lock company, do you ever do any of these? What's as new is called these C-suites of like hairstylists and we call them salon suites. And you haven't done those yet?
No. Yeah.
Those are pretty cool, and they have they pay per month or per week actually. Mm-hmm. So if they don't pay, it's they shut themselves off on that, and that's a pretty interesting. There's not a lot of them, but it's pretty interesting to see those things work out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you were an attorney. You were a practicing attorney at one point.
Yes, I did that for almost a decade. Mm-hmm.
Really? So what, if you don't mind me asking, why did you get out?
Well, I really enjoyed what I was doing. So I got out of law school, went and worked for an insurance defense firm for a little bit, and then had the opportunity to go to the South Carolina Medical Association. And so they are the trade association in South Carolina for physicians. And so at that time, that was 2008, had about 4,500 members. And this was before the ACA, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, came out. And so most physicians were self-employed. They were not employed by hospitals or private equity groups or anybody else. And so there was a significant physician-led, independent physician presence in South Carolina. So I was fortunate enough to be the associate general counsel for that group and really got to see healthcare change with the Affordable Care Act and was in that industry when it was really turned up on its head. So did that for, 7-8 years, and then had the opportunity to go work for a 21 physician orthopedic and neurosurgical practice. So I was their chief operating officer, and we had an ambulatory surgery center. So we did outpatient surgery, knees, hips, carpal tunnel, all that. So I ran that for a couple of years, was recruited away to go run a medical technology company where we were the middleman between physicians, pharmacies, outpatient ASCs, and we assisted in getting the medical records from one place to another. It sounds pretty intuitive and like, why would you need somebody to do that? But it's still very cumbersome and difficult today to get those patient records where they need to be. And then after that, I joined Lucas Bunch, who's my current partner in the construction industry. So had really no background in it, didn't have any business being in it, and still don't really. But he was kind enough to allow me to join, and So he's the builder. He's got all the construction knowledge and knows how to do what we do. And I kind of take care of the marketing, administrative stuff, sales, all that.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'm really glad I got to meet you. I'm in the area now. I just moved to Columbia, South Carolina. I absolutely love it. And I've been a builder for 35 years. And
Wow.
I've been doing it for a minute. That dates me. I tell them how long you've been doing it, and they're like, "Well, how old are you?" So, in what you're doing now, there's a lot of competition. What sets you guys apart, and what comes easy to you that comes challenging to other people?
Well, the three different businesses, all would have a unique answer. Let me just pick one. With LaFi Custom Homes, so we're a small builder. We've got about 10 team members. But what that enables us to do is to both do the semi-custom. And when the market's good, we do more of those specs. And when the market's not so good, like it is right now with high interest rates, tariffs, all that stuff, we do more of the build for rent. And so we do more contract work, and we focus on those products, the type of housing that folks still need, but maybe they can't afford that first time home. And so they've got to rent a little bit longer than they would maybe want to, but they're tired of the apartment. And they want to live somewhere where it feels like it's their home. And so kind of the build for rent is that solution. So we've kind of got a niche within the build for rent, which is infill. So we build a lot of duplexes, townhomes, some single family homes as well, in desirable locations. So we're infill builder. So we're not going to go out and build 100 homes like a production builder would. And so where we build is the locations are desirable. And so people want to be there because in all real estate, it's all location specific. But we build a nicer product. And so it's just kind of a niche that we've found works for us.
Awesome. I could see that niche and that in our industry, we're seeing that play out rather well. Actually, I heard a crazy information, I guess I'd have to call it. Warren Buffett's investing $1 billion into Lennar and D.R. Horton.
Yep.
And they're switching to build to rent instead of build to sell.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's a little bit of a trend. When the economy gets a little bit better, interest rates come down more. The Lennars of the world will go back, I think, to more of a build to sell model, just because their margins are better when they're selling to an individual rather than to a PE group or some institutional capital. That being said, there is or at least has been a shift just in housing in America that I don't think anybody knows how we go back to a more affordable, really entry level first time home buyer scenario. And so some have even started to look at more established areas of the world like Europe and say, they've been through many cycles of this, frankly. And in England, for instance, there's only so much dirt. So what have they done? How have they continue to grow their population and really provide housing for them? Now, we're nowhere close to that in the U.S.
We got space. We got space.
But the challenges that we do have are the infrastructure. And so here locally in Lexington County, it has experienced a tremendous boom, really over the past decade at least. And that's where everybody wants to be. Schools are great. The affordability is better than it is even in Richland County, but the infrastructure just can't keep up. And so what do? How do you fix it, provide a solution for it? And we're just a very small player in that. But like where we are and kind of how we're positioning ourselves.
Awesome. There's always ways. That's one thing I've learned in any industry is there's always a way. You just got to find it.
Mm-hmm.
What is one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome in your career?
Well, my wife teases me because she says about every 2 or 3 years, you just pick up and change industries. And so
that would be a challenge. I'd have to give you that.
Yeah, from practicing law to then becoming the COO of a independent physician practice was a huge change in learning curve because I didn't come in at a more entry level. And so there was just a ton that I didn't know about the operations that I had to learn very quickly. And so, but in doing that enabled me to kind of make the next 2 transitions, at least for me professionally, in understanding what you need to know and when you need to get into the weeds and when you don't. And you never get it right 100%, but you get better at knowing that I need to know in detail and that I just need to know generally because there's some other folks around who can either provide that information for me to make a decision, or if you do truly need to dive into it because it's a major aspect of whatever the organization's in, then you dive into it and you learn what you need to learn. But you don't have to know everything about anything really to make an informed decision to lead the business or organization forward.
Well, I agree with you 1,000%. And when I've led in businesses, what I usually do is just shoot in a direction and you make a plan. And who said it? One of the presidents said it best. Said plans are indispensable, but no, plans are trash, but planning's indispensable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you whenever you start off a plan, and whenever you look back when you've completed the plan, it never goes the way you think.
Never.
I agree with that 1,000%. There's a lot of competition in your space, in your business. What sets you guys apart? What comes easy to you that comes challenging to everybody else?
I think it's our nimbleness. So if
there you go.
In this current environment where we are with real estate, frankly, and housing, it's a challenge. I mean, probably 2 years ago, we couldn't build houses fast enough, and it didn't matter where you built them. People would just wanted it, particularly in South Carolina, because there was a significant amount of migration into South Carolina. People wanted to get out of wherever they were, and South Carolina was an affordable place for them to come. And so they could sell their house in Ohio for 1.2, and it was maybe 1,800 square feet, and they could come here and buy a nice 3,000 square foot house for $600,000. And so we had a lot of that, and we knew that was only for a time. But during that time, we built as fast as we could, and that enabled us to really grow our business and grow our capacity and ability to do what we do. And so we took that and kind of rode that way, but knew it wouldn't be forever. And now that's kind of gone, and things are, I'd say, in a good way correcting. But people are still.
I like how you said that. Not in a good way correcting.
Well, it got too hot. It certainly wasn't 05, 06, 07 too hot, but it got too hot, and so it needed to slow down. I
agree 100%. 100%.
For us, having kind of the two sides of the house, the semi-custom stuff and also the built for rent stuff, enables us to kind of weather the storm and continue to grow.
Yeah, when one goes up, the custom houses go up, and that's you focus on that. And when the custom house goes down, you go to the built to rent, and that helps out. So yeah, that's a great game plan. That's you guys are doing a great job. I love it. If someone listening wants to get better at what you do, what tips and tricks would you suggest for them?
It is very cliche, but you just got to start doing it.
There you go.
but I would say for me, if you asked me to go build a house today, I couldn't do it. But I've got a partner who has done it for 20 years, and he's done everything from a renovation of a bathroom to building $2 million custom homes. So there's nothing that he hadn't seen that he can't figure out and do. And now at this point, we've got some superintendents, a director of construction that have got just a wealth of technical experience and knowledge. And so I don't need to have that skill set. What I bring to the table is more the sales, the marketing, even I would say HR, but it's much more so what's the vision of our culture. And in the construction industry, there's no question a culture, but is it the one that you want? And is it the one that you are building towards? And so nobody's got all the skill sets. So identifying what you're good at, and then either finding a partner or surrounding yourself with others who complement that skill set, but don't have the same skill set is unbelievably important. And so we do that also with our financial partners, with our investors as well, is with each partnership, the other partner brings something to the table that we don't have. And yes, sometimes it's just the financial piece, but we really look for folks who understand student housing, who understand maybe it's land development, and we say, we do what we do well, you do what you do well. Let's come together, and maybe it's a joint venture or something like that, and we can produce a better product because you're an expert in your field. We got ours dialed in. We can make this work.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. When you partner with the right people, that's key. When you find the right people to partner with, it's awesome. It really is. Yeah. Give me a book or podcast or something that you learned that is a game changer for you.
I would say the Bible.
I agree.
So I just there's
talk about too easy.
Yeah, well, but there's for me, there's no better guidebook. There's no better resource for living life, but also in a small business, in any business, you make difficult decisions every day, and you need that wisdom, whether it's personnel, whether it's reputation, whether it's an ethical decision that's kind of gray. It could go either way, and not being rooted in that for me. You just tend to make the wrong decision because you tend to make the decision that's going to either save you money or make you more money. But at the end of the day, if that's all I'm about, it's just not fulfilling. So
I agree with that 1,000,000%. So I've dedicated all my companies to God, and we pray before every meeting in the morning, and it really does. It gives you a level of comfort, and you just see things fall into place. I remember trying to run a business myself, and it was just horrible. When I put God involved, it was like, oh yeah, this is easy. It was really crazy.
Yeah,
I agree with that 1,000%. Looks like things are going pretty well for you, and I think I know the answer. But what do you do to create passive income? So I think you're going to lean on what you do for half your business is the build to rent parts.
Yes. So we've got, Luke and I have a small rental portfolio as well. And so and that's kind of how we got into the build for rent, frankly. It was 2020, and, it was right when COVID was hitting, and we were doing a couple spec houses at that time, and we looked at it and said, we don't know how this thing's going to go, but it could go real bad real quick. We're not starting any more specs, but we had to keep business going. And so we bought a little piece of dirt and built 5 townhomes on it with the intention to sell them. And we got to the end of the project, and by the time we got to the end of the project, everybody had quarantined for a sufficient amount of time to know that they are tired of their house, and they were renovating, and they were buying new and moving. And we said, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And so we looked at the numbers, and instead of selling it, we just held it. with really no plan. The numbers were good. And so then we started looking at, all right, can we do some more of this? And so we started buying existing, building new, just kind of as we could. And over the course of 4 years or so, we've now got 21 doors, and look to continue to grow that. So our competitive advantage is that we can build at cost for ourselves. And so, yeah, we can do it cheaper than anybody else can do it, because we just absorb the overhead, and we'll do a project or two a year, and it adds to what we've already got.
Yeah, that's actually awesome. That is really awesome. We flipped houses in Michigan too, and someone said every eight flips, 7 or 8 flips, you should keep one. And we never did that, and that's one of our biggest mistakes. How do you deal with risk, and when to roll the dice? And give me a time that we rolled the dice and worked out. Is that probably the number one part for you, or is there another one?
My partner is much more risk tolerant than I am. By nature, I'm an attorney, so I always see the downside. Like this, what could happen wrong? That's what they train you to do in law school. What's going to go wrong? Because at some point, somewhere, it will. So I'm still not very good at trusting my gut, because I always say, well, if this goes wrong and this goes wrong, that's it. And what we do, there's a good bit of risk every single day in what we do. But the more you do it, the more comfortable that you get with what level of risk you're willing to take. And so it's probably certainly a weekly basis that Lucas and I are talking about some project or whatever else we want to do. And he's normally saying, hey, I think it'll work. Like, let's do it. And I'm normally saying, let's look at it a little bit more and figure it out. But we took a pretty big risk with the VIA. So that's the roll-off dumpster company. This was in 2021. And we were looking for something to diversify really from LaFi Custom Homes, because it was great, it was going great, but we knew it was too hot. And so we liked the franchise model. So we already had 2 businesses that we ran that were small businesses. And it's hard to run a small business. And we wanted to try the franchise model, had some friends who had done it and been successful. And so we hopped into that. But we hopped into a very young franchise. They only had 2 maybe 3 other franchisees at that time. So the model really wasn't proven. But we knew the industry. We knew
you were using the industry. You were using dumpsters. Yeah. If you're in construction,
so we were very comfortable with the additional areas where we saw improvement could happen pretty quickly, and the VIA had those, and so we jumped into it, and it's been challenging, just like everything else is in life. But almost 4 years in, we feel like we've built a good team, and it's worked well for us, but it was not easy.
No. So. I don't think anything worthwhile is easy.
I would agree.
I've the hardest things I've done are my most rewarding things I've ever done. Okay, listen, thank you very much for wrapping up the interview. What do you guys got planned exciting for the next 6 to 12 months?
We just hired a new controller, and one of the things that we told him in the interview was, we're not sure exactly what 6 months, 18 months looks from now. We just know it's not going to look like it does today. So you just need to be comfortable with that. And we're going to do some things that are going to work and that are not going to work.
Yeah, there you go.
That's just part of the entrepreneurial journey. And that's the part that's fun. It's also the part that keeps you up at night. But we're all 3 businesses. We've been very blessed by the Lord. All 3 are growing. They're doing well. So we're excited about 2026 and where all there are going to go. So
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. We really do appreciate it. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Best way is probably on LinkedIn. Just send me a DM, and we can connect there.
Sounds good. What's your LinkedIn?
Wyman Bowers.
Wyman Bowers. Well, listen, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. And we'll let everybody else go. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And we'll talk to you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.